Hey, this is Meridith, Elliott, Powell, and it is 9 a.m. Eastern, the week of December. It is time for Sales Logic. Now, I know we typically do this on Saturday mornings, but as you know, we've got some holidays coming up here on Saturday. So we thought for the month of December, so much going on, we would kick off Monday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern with Sales Logic. So I'm hanging out here with my co-host, Mark Hunter, who is coming to us as a new Texas resident. Hey, Mark.
Hey, it is a new Texan, literally about 48 hours. So we're still in setup mode, but hey, we're here. We're ready. So
I think it is so impressive that you're up, you're ready to go, and new studio, new state, new home, all that great stuff.
It's working. It's working.
All right, we got a lot to talk about on today's show. I'm going to hit the video. We're going to go ahead and jump in and rock and roll. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Prospect with integrity, we will get customers who have integrity. Integrity is the foundation from which everything is built on.
You better understand value. But at the end of the day, sales is a relationship business. It is a people business. It is an emotional business.
This is Sales Logic.
All right, 9 a.m. Eastern Monday morning, time for Sales Logic, the show where we dive into the strategies, discuss the steps, everything that you need to know to sell effectively. And you're probably thinking, wow, this is holiday week, and these two are still coming at us with sales. Mark, what do we have on tap for today? Well, you know what? I forgot to mention how the show works. For those
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Don't tune in regularly. We kick off typically Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern, but we have a hot topic. Favorite part of the show is a question from you, the audience. We recommend a book, and you walk away with a lightning round so you can sell more effectively immediately.
Well, hey, with that, the topic we have is kind of a year-end topic. It's what does it mean to be sales ready for 2022? Really, it could be what does it mean to be sales ready for any time? Because, hey, we're always turning the page. And what strategies do we need to have in place? But hey, let's jump to the question. The question comes to us. This is a good question. Asking customers who they are currently using for a vendor. For some reason in my industry, customers are hesitant to give out the current vendor. We've seen this, right? I mean, you're in an industry, people are working with somebody, and they don't want to reveal any inside secrets. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are, number one is you have to have confidence around asking. If you're a little fearful to ask because they're going to resist you, then you got to make it, they're picking up on your vibe. So I ask all the time, and I just like to say, it helps me understand a little bit what's important to you and how you work. What vendor or vendors are you working with? And they say, if they say they don't want to tell me, I respect that. But typically the way I deliver it opens the door for it. Sometimes I might say, I see some of my clients are working with so-and-so. Are you working with those vendors? Making it a little bit more of an ease of conversation.
That's a real good strategy. You kind of name drop. You name drop somebody, and then they like, oh, well, then what's going on in the industry, and you share. The other thing that I like to do, and I forgot to acknowledge, hey, Doug, you were the one who sent in the question. Thank you, Doug, for providing us the question for this week's show. The other thing that I love to do is love to ask, hey, you're working with somebody now who you really like. What is it that you like about them? Mm-hmm. And you get them talking about the positives, and then they oftentimes will kind of spill the beans as to who it actually is.
Oh, that's a great strategy. What's really working for you with your current vendor relationship, and what isn't working for you? Again, not that your vendor's doing anything wrong, but what else would you like to have? A lot of times I'll say, typically when I'm in these situations, I'm competing with so-and-so and so-and-so. Is there another vendor that you work with? Again, what Mark said, that makes them feel that you're in the know. They're not revealing any big secret. It's something that is already out there anyway. couple of questions around this though, Mark, is number one, why do you think that clients are hesitant? And why do we need to know the vendors we're competing against?
Well, see, those are two great questions, and let's unpack both of them, because I think the first question you asked, people are afraid to let you know because they feel they're getting some sort of a special deal. They're getting something that nobody else is getting, and they don't want to spill the beans on it. That second piece, why, here's where I get confused at, is people just don't want to enter into a period of work. Oh, I mean, I may have to evaluate a new vendor. I mean, I may got to take a look at somebody else. Screw it. It's not worth, because really what it says is that you, the salesperson, have not created a level of trust. And now the reason you need to know, and you really don't need to know. I mean, you really don't need to know. But what you're trying to understand is there a weakness with the current vendor that they're using? That's really what you're trying to know. And maybe by knowing their name, you know what their weakness is. But let's back up the bus a little bit here. Here's what I find. It all begins with the level of trust and how much that customer respects you. If you're just waltzing in off the street, you really have no history with the customer, none whatsoever. They're not going to share with you anything. You have to create the time to develop a level of trust.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to, the other thing is if they resist you, don't push them. I mean, that is, to me, it says they're not at a level of trust with you, that they're ready to share not only vendor information, they may not be ready to share other information. So don't push, let it go. It will reveal itself, down the road long enough. And if you can talk around it again. Think about, what do you really need to know about that vendor? Do you need to know if they're getting special pricing? Do you need to know if it's the fact that their vendor's highly responsive? What are the things that the vendor's doing that you need to do in order to perform? More importantly, where's the vendor dropping the ball? So that you need to, so that you can really find an opportunity there. But don't push. If they won't reveal the name, let it go. They don't trust you yet. And that's okay. It's nothing against you. It just means enough hasn't been built there.
Hey, I got to bring this question to hit home to you and I in our respective industry. Mm-hmm. How many times have we been up for a speaking engagement and we don't get it and they give it to somebody else? And what's the first thing we want to know? Who did you select? Who
else did you give it to? Always want to know who I
right. I mean,
who I lost out to.
Yeah, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Curiosity always gets the best of us. We always want to know. Hey, we should jump in though into the topic, which is, what does it mean to be sales ready for 2022, and what strategies do we need to have in place?
Well, number one, I love that we are talking about this over the next 2 weeks. We're recording this right before Christmas 2021. And typically this is, my husband said to me yesterday, he said, I guess you have a light week this week. And I laughed. I said, oh, no, I do not have a light week this week. Our family comes over on Christmas Eve. You better be, no, I'm going hot at it until about noon on Christmas Eve. And so I said, you misread that one completely. So this is the time that you need to be preparing for 2022. And the first thing I'm going to say to get sales ready is, number one, go back through and comb your prospect list. Think about who you're going to call on in 2022. I know it's December 2021, and you want me to have you focus and think about who you're going to be calling on in July of 2022. Absolutely. This is the time of year where I create my top 100 prospects for the next year, and I make sure I get all of their contact information. I've got their name, I've got their email, I've got their phone number, or I've got their snail mail, I've got their social media contacts. I am getting everything in order so that I can hit the ground running in January.
That is so important. So many times what happens is people get down to the last couple of weeks of the year and they really begin to coast. Just, I'm just gonna kind of just relax and take it easy. And then what happens is you wind up coming into the new year and you're not ready. Right. And you wind up spending all of January getting ready. I say right now, what you do over the next 2 weeks, and you're kind of like me. In fact, I just got a text message just popped up on my screen from a person confirming, a potential client confirming a call I've got with them tomorrow. Boom. I love it because I'm still actively out there making it happen, because these last 2 weeks of the year set the tone for the next year. And you can't afford to drop the ball, regardless of what it is. Now, you may not be able to make sales calls because your industry's closed down or whatever, but you can certainly be doing what Meridith's talking about, and that's preparing, getting everything in place so you're ready to go. I'm still actively making sales calls. I've got like 3 more sales calls right after this. And I intend to get things booked, not only for appointments in the next 2 weeks, but appointments for the first week of the year.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to go I have my last presentation of the year after we finish this, and there's 3 things we're going to talk about, and there are 3 things that you should be thinking about and things that you could do to get yourself prepared for 2022. Number 1 is, what are you going to do in 2022 to build your reputation in the marketplace? What are you going to do to dominate the marketplace when your customers and top prospects come looking for information? How are you going to make sure that you're in their line of fire? And how are you going to make sure that when they find you, it's the resources and information that they're looking for? How are you going to be top of mind? Number 2 is, you can begin to work right now and figure out how you're relevant in the marketplace. Right now is a great time if you're not in a position to make a sales call. And I get it, this can be an uncomfortable week to make a sales call, but you could check in with customers to figure out where they're focused for 2022. In other words, do you understand the right problems? Do you understand the challenges that they're facing, the opportunities they have in 2022, what they're worried about in 2022? And number 3 is, what's your follow-up strategy? I'm big on 70% of follow-up is value add, and 30% is asking for the business. So what are going to be the points of value add that you're going to do for 2022? And you can do all of those things in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. One thing that I love to do, and I've got a list here of senior level people that I'm reaching out to. Several of them I have appointments with, phone calls with. Some of them I don't. But I love using this period of the year to reach out and talk to senior level people. These are people who I have a little bit of a relationship with. And it's amazing the number of conversations I have. And I know this is going to lead into a tremendous amount of work for me in 2022. Mm-hmm. Don't think that you can't make sales calls. Now, I've got some customers, traditional buyers, lower level people that I know I can't talk to because they've already told me they're on vacation, they've shut down, etc. But you know what's interesting? It's those senior level people. They're still working.
Yeah,
they are working, and it's
so many are.
Yeah.
Something else I was going to use. I made a list of what I wanted to do over the next 2 weeks. Why things are moving at a little bit of a slower level. I mean, I have a big mailing that I always do this type of year, and something I invite people to at the end of January just to kind of get my juices flowing. But I'm going to do a big Valentine's Day push this year. I kind of didn't get it together in time for Christmas and Hanukkah. And so I was working with one of my vendors on some of the plans and things that I have to do a big push around Valentine's Day. And this is a great time of year because things are a little slower to organize those things.
It is. And I've got a couple clients that I coach, and they weren't able to get their act together for really Christmas and Hanukkah and so forth, and even Thanksgiving. But what they do is they have a first of the year mailing going out. They have a first of the year gift going out. They're doing a whole push in the month of January. And for both of these people in their respective industries, because their industries kind of shut down in December, it really is going to work out pretty good because they're going to be getting these packages. They're going to be getting these items when they're gearing up for the new year. And it really is timing. So don't think for a moment, oh man, I missed the holiday season. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a great question here from Mark. Mark, thanks so much for chiming in. I love this question. When making sales calls these last 2 weeks, if you don't reach the person you're calling, do you leave a voicemail or send an email?
I love this. This is the one time a year I will not leave a voicemail, period. And the reason being is because if people are taking time off, the last thing you want to hear is or have your voicemail box filled up with really messages from vendors. So I really won't. If I know the person really well, I will. I will go ahead and pop them an email, but it's going to be a little more personal in nature, a little more inviting. So it's going to take a little bit of a different flavor. And when I get down to the last week between Christmas and New Year's, if I'm calling, I don't leave an email. It's just, I either get them or I don't, and I don't leave a voicemail.
Interesting. I'm totally the opposite.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when I call, I do both, Mark. I actually leave a voicemail and I get an email, depending on what their voicemail says. If their voicemail says, I'm going to be out for the next, week, I'll be back into the office on Monday, the 27th. I'll just leave a voicemail that says, hey, Mark, this is Meridith Powell. I just called you to wish you a great holiday season. I'm going to shoot you an email with that kind of message too. And I look forward to talking to you January 2nd or 3rd, because I'm going to give them the week after Christmas to kind of get back with the program. But I love all year long, I use the combination of the voicemail email thing. I never expect anybody to return my phone call. I don't even expect anybody to do anything but sort of read a text on my voicemail. But in the event they do listen to my voicemail, they'll get my energy across the phone. If you just have a message that says, you've reached Mark, I'm with clients right now, leave me a message. I'll just say, hey, Mark, this is Meridith Powell. I'm not sure if you're working this week or you're home celebrating with family. If you're working this week, I'd love to touch base. I'm going to send you an email on that. If you're already home with family, have a great holiday season. I'll mention the email. I'll send you a calendar link when we can get set up. So I'm basically planting the seeds on both of them. But great question. And as you can see, whatever approach you feel most comfortable is good for you.
And see, this is what's good, because I intend to leave Meridith a really long voicemail just to fill up her voicemail box. No,
just know I won't listen to it. That's why you have to send me an email.
See, now this is kind of interesting. Both Meridith and I are very passionate about sales, and we have slightly different strategies. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong. You take the strategy that fits for you and what works for you, and that's what you run with. So,
yeah. And please note, the biggest thing you notice about both Mark and I, we may have different strategies, but we're both taking action over the next 2 weeks.
I think that in and of itself is huge. I mean, you and I have a lot of friends. We share a lot of the same friends, and I'm constantly amazed at the number of, I'm just kind of going to shut things down and all kind of gear. And then come January 3rd, they're going to say, I'm going to kind of take this week to ease back into it. So then it's the week of January 10th before they even really start back up again. Hey, we got more comments coming up. People a little concerned about their personal life in 2021 because of COVID. That's why we need to be more precious with these coming next 2 weeks. Totally agree. It's kind of interesting. That brings up a good point. I think authenticity is more important than ever in sales. Yeah. You got to be who you are. You have to be who you are. Be transparent and let people understand who you are. I think that is without a doubt one of the key traits that I'm taking forward, or I'm taking out of 2020, 2021 and carrying forward into 2022.
Absolutely. Krishna, this is such a great comment. And I would add to it. I think that people are concerned about their personal lives. I think they're concerned about their businesses too. We all thought that we would be out of this at the close, certainly, of 2020, 6 months into 2021. We thought we would be doing better. And now here we sit at the close of 2021, and everybody's talking about Omicron and what that's going to mean for 2022. So Mark is making such a great point here with authenticity. The last thing we want you to do is not to reach out to customers because you don't want to bother them, because you feel like they're concerned about their personal lives or concerned about things like that. You are more essential than you have ever been. As sales professionals, what we do is we help people with something that's incredibly important to them, and that's their businesses. We provide our solutions and our ideas to make them successful. I mean, you could argue, what are Mark and I doing a sales podcast the week of Christmas, right? Well, we're on here because That's how passionate we believe that you should be reaching out to people. I'm not reaching out to people to sell them a product. Let go of the outcome. I'm reaching out to people because some of my customers are trying to tie up loose ends. And Teresa and I have a speaking engagement today. I could have easily pushed this till the first of the year, but my client wanted to get it in with his sales team before the end of the year. If I hadn't made that call, it wouldn't be happening.
Because it comes down to we're passionate about helping people.
Yeah.
And when you're passionate about helping people, you don't want to stop. I mean, that just becomes a very natural state. This is, I think, the difference between salespeople that view sales as a job and salespeople that view it as a lifestyle. You and I view sales as a lifestyle.
Totally.
We just love connecting, communicating, and helping people. If I viewed it as a transaction, you're right, I would want to shut it down. So anyway, hey, we should probably jump.
It's hard to believe, but here we're burning time.
I know. Hey, we should jump into the book. Share this book because I'm not familiar with the book this week.
Well, you actually should be familiar with the book this week, Mark, because I'm pretty sure that that you are featured in.
Okay. Well, there we go.
Because I am as well. So it's the book is entitled Sales Experts Tips by Ollie Whitfield. And I'll put the link up here to go ahead and pre-order it. It's coming out really soon, but it is tips on everything that you need to know about prospecting, negotiation, sales conversations. But Ollie basically has talked to sales experts all over the place, or followed some of their blogs and some of their tips and put things together into a brand new book that's coming out. And I thought it was just a great wrap up to every single sales logic that we have done in 2021. It covers pretty much every single topic we have covered.
Outstanding. I got to check the book out if I'm probably in it. So anyway, hey, put your hand on the buzzer. Get ready because it's time for the lightning round. 10 strategies you need to put in place in the next 10 days.
You need to back up. And once again, in 2022, you need to get clear on your ideal customer profile. Who are you calling on in 2022 and get clear on them?
I don't like it when you go first because you steal what I was going to share. Make your list of the top, whatever it is. Meridith says it's 100. You might be 50. It might be 25. But these are people who you're going to be reaching out to literally right now to be starting to make it happen.
Yeah, you need to decide what your cadence is for building your reputation in the marketplace. Which social media channels, where does your customer live? Which ones are you going to get on? And then what type of posting and things are you going to do?
Get clear about your value proposition and what is it that you really, truly sell. Keep it simple. Make it easy for customers to do business with you.
Identify the top 5 problems your customers are facing in 2022 and how you're going to solve those problems.
Rework your calendar to say, okay, what is the time of day that I'm going to be spending selling? What is the time of day that I'm going to be spending working with existing customers? In other words, begin looking at your calendar to be allocating your time as you head into the start of the new year.
Start to relook at what your research strategy is. 2022 is going to require you to be an even smarter salesperson. So what is your research strategy going to be before you make a sales call?
Look at your list of existing customers and determine who is the customer you're going to fire. Because you know what? You have some customers that are sucking way too much time and energy out of you. And you know what? Now's a great time just to let them go.
Oh, that is such a good feeling too. Add to that go back to your prospects that you called on in 2021 where you didn't land the business. You got close, and make sure that you fold those in to who you're going to be calling on in 2022. Don't let those drop.
Great. I'll share one more. You share one more, and we'll close it down. I'm going to say this. Set yourself up right now to where you win emotionally. And that is, you got to get yourself a mastermind group. Meridith and I, we're in a mastermind group. In fact, just last weekend, we were together at Meridith's place in the Carolinas, and it worked out absolutely terrific. But having a mastermind group, it allows you to combine and share ideas.
Yeah. The last thing I guess that I'm going to say, there's so many, but I couldn't let this go without saying, what is your follow-up strategy? really use these next 10 days to get that. The sale happens in the follow-up. It always happens in the follow-up.
Because you are the master of follow-up, and follow-up. That's what we do in Sales Logic Podcast. We come at you every week. So I want to say, hey, thank you for listening to Sales Logic this week. If you like what you hear, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. If something we've said has earned you a single dollar, consider telling a friend about our show. It's how we grow to help you grow. I'm Mark Hunter.
And I'm Meridith Elliott Powell.
Remember, when you sell with confidence and integrity,
uncertainty suddenly becomes your competitive advantage.
And the sale becomes logical.
All right. We will see you right here next week, Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern, for another episode of Sales Logic. Cannot thank our audience enough. We love your comments, love your questions. If you have a question, go to saleslogicpodcast.com, put it in there, and we will see you next week. Jump on these strategies today, and you are going to start 2022 strong. We'll see you next week.